which were queried by the Auditor General. So just go straight to your responses and just read the yes.
Management response. Cause. The auditor's observation is noted. The underfunding was a result of funds that were not released in full by the Treasury and cooperating partners during the year under review. Among the major projects funded by cooperating partners is the Transformation Rural Livelihoods in Western Province, which is funded by the African Development Bank, and OPEC Fund for International Development, with a funding ratio of 29% and 71% respectively. However, OFID had suspended disbursement to the projects during the period under review due to non-servicing of the debt by the Treasury. This affected the performance of the contractors, as some of the works stalled, resulting in the non-issuance of interim payment certificates to facilitate for direct funding and expenditure. The release of funds from cooperating partners is IPC driven, and since work stalled and no IPCs were being issued by contractors, no further disbursements were made to the project. Action taken. The Ministry engaged the Treasury for settlement of arrears on debt servicing. I've got a letter to Secretary to Treasury in Appendix 1, response from Permanent Secretary, BEA Appendix number 1 and 2, and letter to Secretary to the Treasury for request for release of funds. Current status. OFID has since resumed disbursement to the project, and the Ministry has been engaging the Treasury for release of funds. And proof of resumption of disbursement. I've got these Appendixes 1 and 2 attached. B. Contract management. During the period under review, the Ministry awarded various contracts for projects amounting totaling to 830 million, out of which amounting totaling to 391 million were paid to contractors for drilling of boreholes, installation of hand pumps, and construction of piped water schemes, among others. The following were observed. 1. Questionable award of contract.
So you got to management response.
Thank you. The Ministry wishes to acknowledge the observation made by the Auditor General as right observed. The contracts with DDYP for Eastern and Copper Belt provinces were signed when the Department of Water Supply and Sanitation was under the Ministry of Local Government and Housing. The performance of the contractor was adversely affected between 2015 and 2019 due to erratic funding on the projects. During the said period, there were limited funds available for implementation of projects, and a directive was issued by Cabinet Office in 2018 to restrict funding to projects that were at least 80% complete. I've attached the Cabinet Circular number 15 of 2018, and I've named it Appendix 3. As a result, the contract with DDYP stalled as it was below 80% complete until its expiry in 2019. When funding commenced, the Ministry noted that the lack of performance and expiry of the contract was largely due to the non-funding, a matter which was outside the control of the contractor. It should also be noted that the newly awarded contract for 192 boreholes was part of the 364 boreholes on the contract that had expired in 2019. The reasons for direct bidding the same contractor were as follows. The expiry of the contract was due to non-release of funds as directed by Cabinet Circular number 15 of 2018, and the Ministry felt that it contributed to the non-performance by the stoppage of funding to the project, therefore compensated by direct bidding the same contractor in order to avoid any possible litigation from the contractor. 2. Even though the contract had expired, the contractor had not yet demobilized from site, and therefore the cost of engaging the same contractor outweighed the cost of engaging a new contractor. 3. Engaging the same contractor also helped to save on time which could have lost through the lengthy procurement processes. Action taken, the ministry has lodged in a request with the insurance company to encash the performance and advance guarantees. Letter requesting for encashment appendix. For the contractor has shared the recovered plan and revised work schedules which are being closely monitored by the ministry. Any failure by the contractor to meet his target will lead to evoking of a clause on application of liquidated damages. Current status: the contractor had drilled and cased 52 boreholes in Eastern Province 41 and Copperbelt 11 out of 192 as at October 2023. Attached is project progress report appendix number 9. 2. Construction of 120 boreholes equipped with hand pumps, Western Province. Management response. The ministry wished to acknowledge the observation made by the Auditor General as rightful observer. The contracts with Campe Investment Limited for Western Province were signed when the Department of Water Supply and Sanitation was under the Ministry of Local Government and Housing. The performance of the contractor was adversely affected between 2015 and 2019 due to erratic funding of the project. During the said period, there were limited funds available for implementation of projects and a directive to suspend funding to all projects in the country which were 80% completion with issued. As a result, the contract stood as it was below 80% complete until it expired in 2019. When funding commenced, the ministry noted that the lack of performance and expiry of the contract was largely due to non-funding. It should also be noted that the newly awarded contract of 120 boreholes was part of the 200 boreholes on the expired contract, which remained undrilled. The reasons for direct bidding the same contractor was as follows. The expiry of the contract was due to non-release of funds as directed by Cabinet Circular number 15 of 2018, and the ministry felt that it contributed to the non-performance of a stoppage of fundings to the project, therefore compensated by direct bidding the same contractor in order to avoid any possible litigation from the contractor. Even though the contract had expired, the contractor had not yet demobilized from the site, and therefore the cost of engaging the same contractor outweighed the cost of engaging a new contractor. Engaging the same contractor also helped to save on time which could have lost through lengthy procurement. Action taken, the ministry through the project manager has written to the contractor expressing displeasure for his poor performance. The contractor has provided a work schedule and recovered plan which is being followed by the ministry to monitor his performance, and failure to meet his target as highlighted in the recovered plan will lead to application of the clause of liquidation damages and encashment of the performance bond and advance guarantee as attached appendix 6. Current status: 6 out of 120 targeted boreholes have been drilled and equipped. Out of 6 drilled and equipped boreholes, 5 have since been handed over to the beneficiary communities in Nalolo. Report of borehole siting, drilling, supply and installation of 120 hand pumps. This is attached on appendix number 7. Number 2, questionable award of borehole drilling contracts, lack of adequate equipment. During the period under review, I just have to go direct to management response. The ministry wishes to acknowledge the observation made by the Auditor General and regrets that the contractor engaged did not have adequate equipment. The situation arose in that the 3 tenders in question, namely tender for 972 boreholes, tender for 192 boreholes, and tender for 80 piped water schemes, were all advertised and evaluated independent of each other. As such, contractors were free to use the same equipment in the tendering process for those independent tenders, as no clause to restrict the contractors were put in any of the solicitation documents. The company DDYP therefore participated in all the 3 independent tenders using the same 3 rigs they own. It was also a requirement that contractors qualified to be awarded a maximum of 3 lots in each tender, hence the requirements for the contractor to provide 3 rigs either owned or hired at the chemical evaluation stage per lot. The challenge, however, was noted at implementation stage in that DDYP, who only won 6 lots in the 3 independent advertised tenders, translating into 6 contracts, had been using the same rigs across all contracts, hence partly being one of the reasons for delayed in execution of works. Action taken: the controlling officer has directed that post-monitoring of all contracts being implemented be strengthened to ensure that equipment and personnel deployed on projects are adequate for each contract and in line with the requirements in the contract document. The ministry has written to Goldman Insurance instructing them to encash the performance guarantees and advance guarantees of the contractor. Current status: the contractor and DDYP is still on site working on progressing with work to highlight in the attached of the progress appendix number 9. The ministry has written to DDYP requesting them to increase the number of equipment in all the sites and execute all the works before the end of the year. Appendix 10. Chair, I submit.
Thank you, PS. Honorable members, we can ask questions. We start from budget and funding and expenditure. Honorable Mai.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Thank you, PS, for that wonderful submission. Madam Chairperson, on A, I've taken note that the Ministry of Water was indeed underfunded with 62,773,734. And the controlling officer has not in any way told this committee what was affected in his budget due to the non-release of 62 million kwacha. So I want in the first place the controlling officer to help this committee understand what was affected with the non-release of the 62 million kwacha. Secondly, Madam Chairperson, despite the Treasury funding the ministry with 685 million kwacha, still 12 million was unutilized by the ministry at the end of the year. So I would want to understand why this money also was not utilized, despite being underfunded. Even when they were underfunded, there was still money which was not utilized. I submit, Madam Chairperson.
Another question? Honorable Mwira.
Thank you, Chairperson. Controlling officer, through the Chairperson, I want to find out the funding that was earmarked to come from external assistance, the 1.4 billion. Was this money supposed to move directly from the funders, was it the partners, direct to the ministry, or it was supposed to move to the Treasury and then the Treasury disburses to the ministry? Thank you, Chair.
PS, I think we have 3 questions. Let him. You can respond to the 3 questions or read direct.
Chair, thank you so much. I'm being asked to explain what happened to these funds. Under my ministry, I've got so many projects which I'm running, and with these funds available, because in the first place, before I contract for any works, I must ensure that the funds are available. And indeed, finance confirmed that funds are available. But my disbursement of these funds depends on how quick the works are being done by contractors. Because the more contractors do their work, the more they bring in the IPCs, the more I pay. Now, looking at the projects I've been implementing, most of the works have not been done by the contractors. It's either they've been slow or they've got no capacity to do this contract, hence making me stuck with these finances. Thank you.
So the failing to spend the 12 million was the cause of the contractors, not the ministry.
Chair, this is why I've said the funds are there and I only spend when my contractors are doing the works. Now, most of the contractors have been so slow in executing their contracts, and others then making me not spend, because I only spend mostly when IPCs are brought to me. Thank you.
There was a question from Honorable Mwira. The last one.
The last one, I will invite my Director Finance to just help in. Director Finance.
Director Finance, you can respond to that question.
Thank you, Chair. On the issue of external assistance going direct to the projects, we have a mixture, but most of the time the funding goes directly to the contractors. We present the IPCs to the financiers, and then they'll facilitate the payments. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I have two questions to the PS. The first one is on this table which indicates other receipts. There's 86.6 million there. The committee would want to find out the specifics of the 86 million, where it came from, because these are just other receipts. There's no detail attached to that. My second question, I heard you say failure to spend the money was due to the slow rate at which the contractors were executing the works. Controlling officer, these contractors were engaged by yourselves, and as a committee expected that you conducted a due diligence before you engaged them, that indeed they were capable to execute the works within the time frame, and not only within the time frame, but they were able to produce qualitable works and such and such. However, now you as a controlling officer, you want to convince this committee that failure to exhaust or to spend the money has nothing to do with yourselves, which this committee is in disrepute. Can you convince this committee indeed that prior to engaging these contractors, you did the needful and you are sure that this contractor were capable to execute the works in accordance to the provisions of the contracts that you signed with these contractors? Madam Chairperson, I submit.
PS, you can respond to the questions.
Chair, thank you so much. Member, thank you so much for that question. If you got my preamble so well, we had some contractors who were given some jobs as back as 2015, 2018, and I explained that most of them failed because there were no funds. And then this new government provided for those funds. And then part of the reasons was I was convinced that those contractors were going to do their jobs because previously they could not perform due to non-availability of funds. Therefore, I had to contract them in good faith, and they met all the obligations or all the benchmarks to qualify to get those contracts. So I was very confident that they will perform for me. And then from there, if you heard me, I've stated that most of them have disappointed us as they have not performed accordingly. Thank you. And in not performing accordingly, we are taking necessary steps to ensure that the law be applied by those non-performing contractors.
My follow-up question, PS, will be, as a ministry, do you have a procurement plan? And if you have, according to the submission, there was an underpayment. What projects suffered in your ministry?
Chair, I've explained that most of the projects suffered because most of the contractors have not performed as expected, though funds are available.
Honorable Daka.
Madam Chairperson, it's a follow-up over the same issue of these contractors. I think the controlling officer, you didn't get my question clear. You are re-engaging these contractors on the basis of mercy that, or on the basis of fear that they can bring litigation issues to government. The question that this committee is posing before you is that, did you check their capacity? Because you are just taking over, especially did you conduct a due diligence to go and check what their plant and two, their manpower? Because from there you could have known that these people are incapable, regardless of the fact that they were engaged by another regime. So the first thing first, you couldn't have just taken over liability like that, because to us as a committee, these people are a liability. You know, water provision and sanitation is a human right to the members of our communities. So to us, we don't take that such kindly. That's why we're asking you, did you do your job before taking over liability? Because to us now, this is a liability which is unacceptable to us. Did you conduct a due diligence? If you did so, where is the due diligence report that you can, so that you can lay it on the table before this committee? That's what we want to get. Not to say, no, they qualified, but why are they failing if they qualified now? So what we're asking, where is the did you conduct a due diligence? And if you did, where is the report? So that this committee can appreciate that indeed you did the right thing. I submit, Madam Chairperson.
Honorable Lumai.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairperson. Just like Honorable Daka is submitting, this committee, Madam Chairperson, would want to help the ministry. Because as we go deep into this report, there are no boreholes in some districts because of the issue of funding. And now, my question was on the current, because the budget funding and expenditures for 2022. So in the 2022, approved estimate was 747 million for the ministry. Amounts funded was 685. Total expenditure was 672. So the balance was 12 million. So we wanted to know, money was released and 12 million was not spent by the ministry. And further, Madam Chairperson, the ministry was underfunded with 62 million kwacha. So if the ministry can help us understand what made them fail to use the 12 million, because if we are told to say there were no IPCs which were brought forward, meanwhile, the ministry has got legacy issues. Their contractors were owed by this ministry on works which they did with the ministry. So if 12 million is not spent because there were no IPCs, and 12 million, 62 million which was not released by the treasury, the ministry doesn't want to tell the committee what was affected. So the committee may find challenges in helping the ministry. So that's where we're insisting, why was 12 million not spent? Because there's no water in Nalolo. Then what was affected by the non-release of the 62 million kwacha? So the controlling officer would be helping this committee to help them also to know why we have got 12 million kwacha unspent.
PS, you can also bring in your head of procurement to help us with these questions. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Earlier on, I stated that these contractors, when they were contracted earlier on, they could not perform because the funds were not available. And then from there, I tendered the documents, circular from Office of the Secretary to the Cabinet, where instructions were given that for those contracts which are 80% and below, be cancelled. I explained on that, and then from that background, for me, I had faith that these contractors will perform, since they had failed to execute their jobs because of lack of funds. So for that reason, I had to inherit them, since now I had funds. I wanted them to prove me that it's not the funds which they needed, which has turned to be funds are there, it's just that these people can't perform. And then talking about the 12 million kwacha, this 12 million kwacha was meant, this is the fund which was meant for a trust fund, which is not yet operationalized. We had a trust fund which we are meant to put in place, but this trust fund is not yet in place. In that, though we had this trust fund try to push some money to work in it, part of the support of this trust fund was to put in a system of levying our Zambian people who are already overburdened. So we have not allowed it to take over because we already see that our Zambian people are overburdened with a lot of things to pay. And then part of the issue to support this trust fund was to ask people to, again, being levied apart from paying for these bills, which we have seen that most of them are not managing. And then at this point in time, I may introduce my head procurement to just see on how we can also help out. Thank you, Chair.
Head procurement, can you respond to the question from Honorable Daka?
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much, Committee. Issues of due diligence on the contractors, I would like to bring it to your attention that it was done. If the committee feels that we may be provided, I know it was not part of the submission, we can still request that maybe have it submitted at a later stage. I submit, Honorable.
Honorable Kando.
Thank you so much, Chair. Controlling Officer, I move to questionable award of contract. In 2015, the government engaged this company called, what's the name again here? The DDYPE. How much was government likely to lose? And how much works were done by this DDYP? Since they were part of the companies that were instructed to be put on standby or to be on ice because there was no money. How much were you likely to lose from this?
Honorable Mwira.
Thank you, Chair. Riding on Honorable Kando's question, on questionable award of contracts. Still on this company, DDYPE, Chairperson, I have gone through the submission by the controlling officer, specifically on page 4, where the reasons for direct bidding the same contractor have been highlighted. And I've gone through these reasons. But Chair, this country has got laws, and I had to go through the ZPPA Act, specifically Section 46, which outlines the basis on which one can proceed with direct bidding. And Chair, the reasons that have been given by the controlling officer, none of them qualify under Section 46 of the ZPPA Act to support or justify direct bidding. I can simply say this direct bidding was based on wrong justification against the law. So my question is, wasn't the controlling officer and the team aware of the provisions of Section 46 of the ZPPA with regard to direct bidding for them to advance these reasons which are contrary different from what the law requires? I thank you, Chair.
Honorable Mukumbi.
Thank you, Chair. Soon after the contract was terminated, the area contract, the contractor should have been demobilized from site. Surprisingly, this contractor continued on site for over 7 months and was again awarded another contract. I just want to know why the contractor was still on site, despite the government having probably stopped this contract. I submit, Chair. And over the same, Chair, a controlling officer, you've submitted a request for encashment for the performance bond, which expired in October 2023, to the insurance company. Has that been honored? Has it been honored? Has the insurance company paid? Chair, submit.
PS, you can respond to the questions, or you can redirect to the relevant officers to help.
Thank you so much. Before I ask for any help from my team, earlier on there was the other receipts from this table. There's one member who asked of other receipts. This money is the money which was for emergency works. If you remember so well, we had a bad sanitation situation in Kabushi, Roni, and in Kitwe. So we needed to attend to those emergency sanitation works. As a result, we had to get extra funds through the vehicle of DMMU. So DMMU assisted us with this 86,630,000 kwacha to attend to those emergency works. Thank you. And then going forward, on the reasons for direct bidding, I will invite the head procurement to assist. Head procurement.
Head procurement, you want to submit through me, not your PS. So head procurement, can you respond to the questions?
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much, Committee. On the issues for direct bidding, the Ministry had to direct bid the said contractor on account of them to continue the works because you're already on the ground. We couldn't afford to have them demobilized, which would have been a cost to government if we had them demobilized. That is one of the reasons. And then looking at also issues to do with the cost to the government, because we are owing DDYP at that particular time. So we felt that it was ideal for the ministry to direct bid them so that they have a continuation in terms of them being on the ground and to do the works. Then going back to the issue of maybe Honorable Muller, who is asking to say the direct bid was not catered for through the act or regulation. You may wish to note that apart from the act itself, we are also in due receivership in terms of issues of the circulars, which sometimes are issued by ZPPA, and in this regard, if you check the query, ZPPA had a circular that we used to have them direct bidded, whereby, of course, we were given authority through that particular circular, which is read together with the Act.
Order. Honorable Mkombe.
Point of order, Chair. Through the controlling officer to the procurement officer, we are aware, we know that direct bidding is one condition that we use in procurement. We are aware of that fact. The question we are asking is, are the reasons that you have given here, comparing reasons for you to direct bid, there are 1, 2, 3 in your report. Are they there in the Act? I thank you, Chair.
Head procurement.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Have you seen the reasons you submitted?
Yes, I have seen, Chair. To bring to the fore of this committee, I would like to say that, of course, there is something that is read together with the Act. You don't just look at the Act, you also have circulars that give mandate to certain other clauses that would be of need in terms of maybe what had happened at this particular time. And this was done, of course, justificationally through the circular that I submit, Chair.
Honorable Daka, point of orders, what?
Madam Chairperson, we have laws in this country, and if a circular is not in tandem with the law, it's a nullity. There is no way we can be creating laws for ourselves and the circulars come to override the laws. It's not acceptable. And in fact, according to the general principle, the law takes precedence. The governing principle in this regard is the law. What we want to find out from the controlling officer is that there are prescribed laws. That we have got laws that are very adequate with regards to when you can direct bid, and that's a governing principle. You can't come here and tell us that a circular actually overrode the provisions of the law. It doesn't work like that. So for us, we want to know, are these grounds that you have stipulated here, are they in tandem with the provisions of the Act to compel you to go for a direct bid? And moreover, Madam Chairperson, if you look at this same contractor, he had failed to execute the initial contract. He failed with the initial contract where he was given to drill these how many boreholes? 480 boreholes. He categorically failed. And again, the government comes to engage someone who had already shown that he had no capacity to execute a contract which was similar in nature. Then we even go and justify, because one of the requirements for you to justify a direct bid is that that contractor should have the capacity, should demonstrate capacity that he can execute those aforesaid works. That's one of the most important quality that you have to look at when you are direct bidding, because you are trying to say that we don't want to waste time with time wasters. We want to go direct to those people who know how to execute this assignment that we have at hand. And in this regard, there were clear signs that that was a failure of a contractor. But our officers proceeded. What is it that actually motivated you to proceed with a contractor that you knew already that you would fail again? And again, worse off, you even breaking the law. Madam Chairperson, this is very disgusting, and as a committee, I think we should not be tolerating such kind of things. I submit, Madam Chair.
Just in addition to what Nabudaka is saying, even when we are evaluating this particular contractor, this contractor was supposed to have 15 pieces of equipment. How many did they have? Only about, they're supposed to have 15 rigs. Based on the contract, they only had 3. They only had 3. Now you are telling us that this was the best contractor that there was at a time. And you need to direct bid such a person. Chair, we will not be ready to listen to what he's saying if he continues that fashion. Chair, submit.
Procurement head, we don't want speculation. These are government resources. There's nothing like saying, no, they were given a contract before us, now we have resources, like the PS submitted saying that, no, because I have money now I need to give them. No. So PS, can you tell us what was the motivation of giving back the same contractor who failed in the first place?
Chair.
Thank you. Chair, I asked a question to the controlling officer. These are legacy issues that we are dealing with here. We have a situation here where this company was given a total contract of, how much was that? And my question to you was, how much was government likely to lose out of what they had given to this contractor? And for me, I'm aware that direct bidding is not prohibited in this country. You can direct bid. But my question, when you direct bid, you also go through the PPA to ask for clearance. Did you get clearance from the PPA to proceed with your direct bidding? But my main question is, how much was government losing out from this same 2015 contract that was entered? I submit.
PS, can respond to the questions?
Chair, I'll still ask my head procurement to explain, and then after that I'll also ask my deputy director, water supply and sanitation, to explain on how much we could have lost. Thank you.
But we have director finance. For the issues of how much we lost, it's supposed to come from finance, not from director. So that one to be responded by Director Finance. So procurement, can you respond to the other questions?
Thank you very much, Chair. Going back to the questions that have been asked by the members, I would like to respond that on one of them, in terms of why you had to direct bid, actually is provided for. It states that additional goods, works or services must be procured from the same source because of the need for continuation, standardization. So it's 100% provided for a committee member. That is 100% in the law.
Or the procurement head. The issue is that we understand those things, but we already have one issue with this contractor. This is the question from honorable members. He failed to perform. So what was the motivation of giving back, despite that we have all those rules? But now we are looking at this person failed to work with the other contracts, and then we are repeating the same person. That's the question from honorable members. That is why they are saying, what is the motivation of you continuing with this contractor?
Thank you very much, Chair. Maybe in that regard, I would request that, as you know, that procurement is there to facilitate the requests that are coming from different departments. In this regard, maybe I would ask my colleague from Department of Water Supply to help out as to the reasons, because obviously the requests as they come, we process as they need be. So in this regard, I think I would ask my colleague Director of Water Supply to help out, maybe respond. I submit, Chair.
Director Water Supply. Honorable Daka.
Chair, even what is quoting, citing continuity. Chair, I mean, how do we continue with a failed project already? Because the aim is to make it better, is to remedy the situation for the betterness of our people. So how do we continue with a failed project, even if it is to bring in the other director? What? This issue is straightforward. When you are talking about the direct bidding, issues to do with capacity of the supply of goods and services is one of the things that is supposed to be looked at. Whatever they can say over this one, but the capacity of the person that we are trying to direct bid this time around should have been demonstrated from the previous performance. That's why you look at the previous performance, maybe 3 to 5 years backwards. But this one, he had a contract that preceded this one where he failed. So we would want to know the motivation. It's a simple question that we would want to know what motivated the ministry to rearrange a failure to provide goods and services to our needy people. Water is life, and it's a human right. So we want to know why they should be playing, why should they be playing with people's lives like this, when they knew that this contractor, from his past performance, would even fail again. So, Madam Chairperson, it's a motivation. We still stand on this matter of motivation behind why they awarded this contract. There is single source or direct bidded this supply of goods and services. I submit, Madam Chairperson.
Through the PS, Director Water and Sanitation.
Thank you, Chair. I am assuming, I think, maybe just for the information of the committee, I only joined the ministry in February this year. So at the time that this was actually happening, I was not there. But maybe, in addition,
who was there?
No, he's not present.
From this team, who was there during that time?
Maybe I'll ask my Assistant Director of Water Supply.
The Assistant Director, you are there? Can you respond to the question?
Well, thank you very much, Chair. The time when the works were being, the contract was being direct bid, at that point, the previous contract, which was for drilling of 440 boreholes in Eastern Province and 40 boreholes on the Copper Belt, had failed, as the controlling officer has submitted that it was based on the fact that the funds to support that project were not available, because we were directed to concentrate on those projects which were 80% complete and above. So at that point, the reasons for failure to complete the initial contract was not based on his performance, but rather on the fact that funds were not available. However, when he was...
There's a point of order, Honorable Mkumbi.
Chair, we don't want to be misled as a committee. We are aware when that circular came, and you have guided when this particular contract was signed. The contract was signed in 2015, and the circular at that time was 2018, 3 years down the line. And in 3 years, this person failed lamentably.
you want to be telling us...
Point of order on a point of order.
Let me just finish.
Let Honorable Mukum finish. Let Honorable finish.
So, that does not hold water because 3 years down the line, this person failed. Then come 2022, you give the same person who failed. So the question is very simple. What motivated you? Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Kando.
We will need the committee to stick to facts. The failure by this company from 2015, I think it's rightly put that the government was not paying. And the government has to be blamed. It contracted more and yet it was unable to fulfill. So I think when we say it's the contractor who failed, I think we could be putting it somewhere. But I think maybe, Chair, we dwell on the 2022, but otherwise the failure, the government is to blame in this.
Honorable Daka.
This contractor, Chair, even when he was awarded the new contract, he failed again. So us as a committee, we are saying...
Order, adjourn for 10 minutes. PS, you can excuse us. Yeah. I lift you.
My name's Honorable Elias Mubanga, who is a nominated Member of Parliament and who is the Minister for Small and Medium Enterprise Development in Zambia. I am a family man. I'm married and have kids who I love so much. And before I joined Parliament, I've been running my own enterprise, my own business. And I've run my own business for over 25 years. So I started as a micro, small business, and I grew my business to a medium business. So I understand entrepreneurship. I understand the challenges the businesses, especially small and medium businesses, go through in this country. And that's why His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia saw it fit that I'm able to run the small and medium ministry, which is a new ministry to take care of the, smaller businesses in the country. My aim is to first and foremost formalize, these informal small businesses to make sure that they register. That's my mandate number one, and that's what we are working on. And then we are also trying to make sure that we put up a policy, the policy that will address the small and medium businesses in this country, because we've never had, such a ministry, or we've never had, an institution emphasizing the small and medium businesses which occupy a bigger space in this country. Over 95% of all the businesses in the country are in the hands of the small and medium businesses. And that's why we want to make sure that they are formalized. That's why we want to make sure that the policy is there, and we give them regulations that will guide, these businesses. You see, once we formalize these businesses, then the government will be able to have, a wider tax base from the formal or formalization of these small and medium businesses. The vision is to make sure that we grow this sector. That is my vision. Meaning we must make sure that these businesses start growing from micro, small to medium. So that's my aim, is to make sure that I give guidance, I give provision, I also help, you know, once they are formalized, we can also help them to have skills how to run businesses, and as well, you know, for them to have access to finance.
Okay, my name is Chipoka Mlenga. I'm Member of Parliament for Chingola constituency under the United Party for National Development. I am currently working as Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry. President Hakainde Hichilema was gracious enough to give me the opportunity to serve the Zambian people as Minister in Commerce, Trade and Industry. And under his leadership and mentorship, I am learning quite a lot of things to serve the Zambian people to the best of my ability within the given time and the given resources. I have been married for the past 16 years to a young lady that I met at university, at the Copperbelt University, Likonge Makai. She is an electrical engineer. She's been a very, very good source of encouragement to myself in many, many other spheres and aspects of life. Together, God has blessed us with twins, a boy and a girl, and they are 14 years old. And I am born from Mr. and Mrs. Mlenga. My father is Aston Chilufya Mlenga, my mother is Monica Mlenga, and from 7 children, I'm the 5th, 2 girls and 5 boys, of which I am the 5th one. Before joining politics, I worked in my private life. When I just graduated from university, I joined the local government, Mufulira Municipal Council, where I worked as a management trainee, or should I say an intern, for some time, barely 3-4 months, before I joined Konkola Copper Mines from 2006 until 2021, when I left the mining industry. And I worked in the mining industry, serving many different portfolios, until such a time when my affiliation into politics, you know how the past government was quite oppressive and very vengeful in many different ways to people that were perceived to be against them. And indeed, I spoke so much loudly against the tyranny rule of the past government, the injustices that we saw, the uneven distribution of wealth among the general public, among many other things. So deliberately, after being incited by some non-members of parliament then, 2 of them, I was declared redundant. Graciously, gladly, I left. I walked away in 2021, and I will be very clear and glad that through my media engagements on radio and TV, President Hakainde Hichilema identified me. And then I was given a chance to contest the seat under the UPND because I was coming in from the alliance to work together, and that is a decision I have never regretted. Well, my constituency is a very cosmopolitan constituency in terms of creed, ethnicity and religion. You know, it has got rural communities, it has got peri-urban, and it has got urban communities. It is the biggest in population constituency on the Copper Belt. It has got a registered number of almost 100,000 people. This is in the 90,000, almost 100,000 registered number of voters, and I'm very optimistic that in the coming elections it will be even more. So this is an election that you really have to pay particular attention to the needs of the people, because the needs that are in a certain ward are different from the needs in a different one. So you have to pay particular attention to the needs of each constituent ward and give development based on their customized needs. And it has been made easy to provide this development by the enhanced CDF by the president that he has given us. which is being released on a timely basis. I can assure you that I've got 18 wards in my constituency, and in these wards, the needs in Chingola Central are different from the needs in Ipafu, Mudenda, Chabanyama, and other places. So others are asking for boreholes to get decent water facilities. Others are asking for market as trading places, and we are giving them. Others are asking for crossing points in terms of bridges. Others are asking for road networks. But within the resources we have and the time frame we have, we are able now to provide these facilities. Obviously, as resources are coming on board within the given year that we are doing, but definitely we are reaching out. So it's an amazing one. And one thing that I can tell you about my constituency, it has got more of women and youth. So our youths are very dynamic in their needs. So this is something that, as Member of Parliament, it's not also just as easy as it may be perceived, because the needs of the youth are different and they change given time that evolves as every day passes. So I also have to pay particular attention to their needs and see how we don't leave them behind. In the past, youths could just be called cadres, but I'm very happy that we cadres now are not just seen as cadres. Because of the enhanced CDF and how the financing system has come in this country, we the cadres are part of the value chain in development. We are given opportunities not only to line the streets and wait for members of parliament to give us squatches and coins. We are beginning to participate in the project that CDF is providing, but contribute and also be engaged in educational facilities like the grants that are being given for training plumbers, teachers, and many other people. So I'm very excited that as dynamic as it may be, as cosmopolitan as it may be, it has given me an opportunity to understand people in depth and learn management skills. But definitely a lot of insight is coming in, even from the President himself, and I engage a lot the Provincial Minister, Honorable Matambo, who has spent a lot of time in many different places, and we talk a lot and learning from one another, and he's been very supportive. We have to believe in the system, and collectively as a team we will achieve. We have to understand that we used to struggle in the past. Just to get water to run from a borehole that was sunk by government at Chwempala was something that was never heard of. Today we have done it. We are talking about Munsenga, which had a health facility which was running from 7 o'clock to 14 hours. Now with enhanced CDF, we are putting up a mortuary and a maternity wing facility where our women can receive decent health maternity facilities, among many other things. So all I can tell the people of my constituency is let's keep engaging. Even from the criticism that is coming on board, we are drawing lessons, and collectively we will do something that will change our living standards. Look at Fipuya Bridge. It is always a river when it rains and people cannot cross to the other side. Others who have to, our women have to undress, our young boys have to be swept away just to move into those facilities. But we are going to put up a state-of-the-art bridge where 2 cars can cross past each other. Trucks that are carrying food and farming input can cross. We are going to do this together, and we are not going to leave anyone behind. So my message to the people of Chingola constituency, starting from Munsenga all the way to Chwempala up to Mudenda, we will march together, we will do and implement our projects together. I am very excited that when we look at our councillors, they are coming on together and we decide which projects we are going to do in each ward and how we are going to implement it. Thanks even to the commitment from the town clerk. And her directors, they are very much equal to the task, getting development to the people as and when the development has to be provided. So I would just want to offer my support to the council, to the mayor and his team, and ultimately the people that gave us the mandate to serve them. So collectively the UPND is going to deliver in Chingola constituency and beyond many other places that we are residing in. Thank you very much.
Josephine na imdogo na Zambia TV mukondi yanga na mukazi wanga na foni yake.
Do you hear me when I say I'm ready?
Ingolila nokia umatu mwanga uja kansi ni boyfriendi angotuma foni baby yanga umukazi wanga akatuma foni ukonwela ni munyumba mwanga mu network yanga my coverage iwe kusova via unambomela ni bedi yanga iwe ni mu network yanga iwe my coverage iwe akatuma foni via unambomela ni bedi yanga iwe ni mu network yanga iwe my coverage iwe nakula phone no kupasa ndalama zanga talk time yanga na simu yanga wale konvela unitumila ni phone yanga ndalama zanga na simu yanga tumafela tukufela ni ndalama zanga chikondi changa umuna wanga lelo awe nikupisha leta foni yanga ndalama zanga na simu yanga akatuma foni ukonwela ni munyumba mwanga mu network yanga my coverage iwe.
Do you hear me when I say I'm ready?
Iwe my coverage iwe iwe akatuma foni ukonwela ni munyumba mwanga mu network yanga my coverage iwe kusova via unambomela ni bedi yanga iwe ni mu network yanga iwe my coverage iwe. Josephine
mama we mama situnu yena sale sala kawambe kale shalila tumani mbona le kwimba na le kolonga ni kale rumba ngana imba kole yale yale ya na imba ko just kwatae ini mbona temenu sana yena elioni 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 sakua sakua elioni elioni sakua
ulisokutambako night rider batambeko na magaiva ngawafale kokanoksta awezo na nizimya wawela wabikapo na stoni washindala kwena wabachefya abakela nayo mumashiponi ala kwena kwale wama elioni elioni sakuwa elioni tisitalenga ipa elioni elioni lya mani elioni lya bene tuchindetse nami tuchindetse nami
Fine, what's the problem?
Yeah, I'm okay.
No, you're not okay. Is it the drinks that we're taking or something? What's wrong with you?
No,
Today you've been very, very low. Maybe can we see a doctor afterwards so that maybe we may have a checkup or something? Now what's the problem, babe?
Okay, bye. I just need some time alone, okay?
Ngolea mweza kwa cheviwe oh ngolea ila waishile mungumi wandi natashishele sao kuti ampala nefiloto fendi kayamile no kula chitika wena ine apasa nombaida waikala kopya panono wachinjamano wachindelonga wai chishina rufyanyai njeba chishina viruku chikai okay kakuya kuchiwaya nomaine ndekulomba kope chimo Shake swile po kubichi kupatikisho kuntemwai so usalepofye wai limo ulafirwa kunjevelapo ulefayo kumpanga ngasipeya.
Welcome back, honorable members and our permanent witness. PS, I restore your immunity. Honorable members, we can continue with our questions. However, let's concentrate much on the funding for 2022. Honorable Kando.
Yeah, thank you so much. Controlling officer, in 2022, you gave this project to this DDY, whatever. But looking at the performance, out of 380 boreholes that are supposed to be done by this company, only 52 have been done. Where is the problem? And the duration was for, is it 12 months? And that 12 months, I think, expired just this month. What is the problem?
Any question? Honorable Lumai.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and thank you for your guidance that perhaps we concentrate to the current issues. But what must be taken in notice, the ministry is aware that we are aware of the legacy issues regarding the same project. Now I want to follow the steps of the people for Kwahae. Madam Chairperson, the ministry contracted DDYPE to do 192 boreholes at a contract sum of 17,588,000, which was for 12 months. 4,397,000 was released, and 34 boreholes have been done. And when I did my little calculation, one borehole was giving me about 129. So the question I have for the controlling officer, why do we have 34 boreholes out of 4.3 million, and why are other boreholes not done?
Honorable Mwira.
Thank you, Chair. The same contract, the current contract now, 192 boreholes. I want to know where we stand, because in the response, we are being informed that the action that has been taken, as contained on page 4, the ministry has lodged in a request with the insurance company to encash the performance and advance guarantee. And I have gone to Appendix 4, which contains, Appendix 4, which contains this request for encashment. So my question now is two, actually, on this same issue. When you encash a performance bond, my understanding is that this contractor has failed and you are divorcing. And so you are falling back on the security, which is the performance guarantee and also the advance guarantee. You are divorcing. The relationship is not continuing. So you go to get your money back. This is what it means when you encash. But then, further in the action taken, in addition to this encashment, which we have seen by evidence, the contractor says they have shared the recovery plan and the revised work schedules, which are being closely monitored by the ministry. So they are monitoring the schedule, meaning the contractor is still on site. There's no divorce. But then on the other hand, they are requesting for encashment of the performance bond. So I'm confused, Chairperson. Where do we stand? That is my first question. Second question, still on this same letter, the request for encashment was written on the 12th of October.
And this performance guarantee expiry was on the 12th of October itself, the same day that the letter was written for encashment. That was the last day. What is the status?
PS, you can
Thank
respond to
you,
the
Chair.
four or five questions from the honorable members.
Thank you so much. In the first place, the contractor has done 52 out of 192 and not 34. As the member earlier...
They've done 52.
Yes, they've done 52 boreholes out of 192. And very quickly on where we are, I will quickly invite my Director, Water Supply and Sanitation, to explain as to when we got the monitoring, the monitoring of the execution of the contract and when we moved in cashing, because there is a period gap between these two. Chair, I will request that you authorize
Director,
me
Water
to
and
call
Sanitation.
Director.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. If you notice, this contractor, I think to all of us, we've seen that he is not performing. He is an underperformer. As a ministry, we've actually keenly been following on the, on his performance. Initially, we saw that his performance was actually below par. And that was how we engaged him to say, how are you going to recover in terms of these number of boreholes that are yet to be completed? So you will notice that we wrote to the contractor we wrote to the contractor where he promised to submit a recovery plan that is actually attached in the document. However, after the submission of that recovery plan, we still saw that the contractor was still not performing according to the way that we had actually intended. Therefore, we made a decision as a ministry to proceed and encash the guarantees that were issued against the contract. That is how, if you notice, I think on the date of 12th October, as rightly put by the honorable member, we actually did write to the insurance company for them to encash. I submit, Chair. Okay. So maybe in addition to that, we also did another, because after realizing that the insurance company has not come through yet in terms of the encashment, we also did a further follow-up, which was actually submitted yesterday to the insurance company for them to give us an update as to where we are in terms of the encashment. I submit.
Honorable Mwira.
Thank you. So, as a follow-up, has this contract been terminated?
There's also a question from Honorable Lumayas. It has not been answered. So you can respond to the three questions.
So, sorry, excuse me, which one? So on the status of the project, I wish to report to the committee that the contracts are not, have since actually expired, and now we are pushing the agenda of having the encashment actually being, honored. I submit.
The Honorable Lumai.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I don't know if it is my eyes. On page 3, it was observed that despite the failure by the contractor to fully perform his contract entered into 2015, the ministry still engaged the company in 2022. In this regard, it was noted that out of 192 boreholes, the company only drilled and cased 34 boreholes. Eastern Province 23, Copper Belt 11. That brings the total to 34. But the amount of money which was released, advance paid, an advance payment of 4.397148. Hence my question was, from 4.3 million, only 34 boreholes have been done, which is 23 in Eastern and 11 on the Copper Belt. So my question was, is it acceptable that from 4.3 we can only have 34 boreholes? If that is the position of the ministry, how much was one borehole costing? If it is not their position, what is the status of the 4.3 and the whole contract?
And then in your last submission in PS, you said 53 instead of 34. So where is the other boreholes? Because according to this submission, it's 34. So, PS, you can respond.
Thank you, Chair. On page 4, we have the current status, which means from this period to this moment, he had pushed further. On page 4, current status, the contractor has drilled 52 boreholes, which is the Eastern Province is now at 41, and Copper Belt is at 11.
So coming to that, from that background, it means that you still need to respond to Honorable Mai's question of saying how much was per borehole, even when you use the same figure of 52, in relation to the amount you paid them.
Thank you, Chair. What we paid, the 4.3 was advance payment, of which we had not. We give him this advance payment to start the works, mobilize and do all those things. So we would not equate the amount, the number of boreholes he has drilled, we would not equate it to this advance payment. Before he started, before he mobilized, we gave him this amount of money as advance payment to start the works. And then currently, he has only done 52 out of 192. And then from there, we have realized that this contractor will not help us. He has failed. That's why we have taken the encashment process so that we safeguard the government funds. Thank you.
Honorable Daka.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. PS, we appreciate the efforts that we have taken to recover or to safeguard government resources. Very important. Now, PS, I'm looking at the dates. You engage this contractor on the 12th, and the date of engagement is on the 12th of October 2022. Termination of a contract as provided for in the conditions of a contract that you signed with him has got a process. You start with the early warning, you follow it up, you warn him. To that effect, if it doesn't improve, that's when we get to issues to do with the termination. Did we charge any liquidated damage to that effect under this contract? Because we cannot just let this contractor scot-free. He has wasted the government time and even resources. So the committee would want to find out if indeed the clause on liquidated damages was evoked. I submit, Madam Chairperson.
Honorable Kando.
Thank you. Controlling officer, among the reasons that you used to engage this person was that you did not need them, they had not demobilized, which is they were on a site. But when I look at the works that these people you gave them, they were in many sites. So which site were you referring to where they did not have to demobilize because they were in one place?
PS, you can support the questions.
Chair,
Start from the one from Honorable Daka.
Chair, I will request that head procurement assists. Thank you.
Head procurement through the PS, you can respond to the questions.
Thank you very much, Chair. On the issue of liquidated damages, I would like to submit that we didn't take that step and we are apologetic over the same issue. I submit, Chair.
There are other questions. One PS, you can respond. There was one from Honorable Daka, which he has responded. Then the other one from Honorable Likando.
Honorable Likando, may I repeat the question?
Honorable, can you repeat
I think my question to you was, among the reasons that you gave to re-engage this contractor was that you didn't want them to demobilize. Where were they mobilized? Because I see you have, you gave them quite a lot of contracts. You gave them quite a lot of contracts, almost about 6 contracts that you gave them almost 2 contracts in every month. In some instances, there were 4 contracts given in 1 month. On page 7, the dates are there. You are showing the dates under which you engage this contractor.
Director Water. Deputy Director Water, through the PS, you can respond to the questions from Honorable Ricardo.
Oh, thank you, Chairperson. The question is regarding where the contractor, at which site the contractor was. So there are 2, there's Copper Belt. In Copper Belt, the contractor had his machinery and personnel in Mpongwe, but they were not working, they were just there, stationed. In Eastern Province, I may not be able to state the district where they were, but they didn't leave the province in anticipation of the flow of funds so that they can easily continue. So whilst they didn't demobilize, they were not working. It's the machinery and the personnel who were still within the project area. I submit.
PS?
Chair, I think going forward, I would say our local contractors have failed us in this area, and then we feel maybe going forward, we need to be assisted in improving with our laws so that we allow the gurus in this area, whom we all know. Our colleagues, the Indians, are experts at drilling and equipping of the boreholes. We have failed in most areas because looking at the provisions we had, in good faith it was done that let our Zambian people be empowered. But it has turned that our Zambian people have failed us in this area. So I would love a situation whereby if the laws will be opened up so that we can allow people who are experienced take up most of these works. Otherwise, if the situation remains with the same status quo of allowing citizen bidders only, even next year, I'll come and sit here. Thank you.
Honorable Daka.
Chair, whilst agreeing with the controlling officer, but controlling officer, any contract has got specifics that you look at for you to determine capacity to or ability to perform a certain contract. And I'm sure you are alive to the fact that when you are doing the evaluation, your team looks at those areas. Maybe technically, you evaluate the contractor's ability to perform that particular kind of a contract. And financially, where you even request them to furnish you with line of credit. In circumstances where government delays to pay, the contractor demonstrates to say that I'll tend to my line of credit in such type of circumstances. And I'm sure that's why government actually came up with a secure of 80% and above, because all these contractors were in the same environment. How the others managed the 80% and others failed, basically see issues to do with ability and capacity now. So this very contractor, the committee still insists that it was known that he even under the previous contract, he scored below par. That's why government decided that we shouldn't continue STEM. However, what am I trying to bring on the plate now is that you have got evaluation guidelines. And to that, these people are responsive, these very Zambian contractors, because we have to protect our Zambian contractors. There is nowhere they are going to go to. And in fact, moreover, when they do the assignment right, the money remains in the country. These Indians that we're talking about, the money, they'll be capital flights. Actually, it won't help us economically. So what we're trying to say is that there is an evaluation criteria, which your staff at the ministry actually recommends that this very contractor in question is responsive, both technically and financially, to execute this contract, which means they qualify. So now, you as a controlling officer, you have to tell us really what is it that our local contractors, what challenges in that regard are they facing for them to be failing to be executing this contract. I think as a committee we appreciate more there, so that we together can find a lasting solution to helping our brothers and sisters. We shouldn't rush at just saying we open up. Because may I believe that you evaluated and you said they can execute. What has changed now after execution, after being awarded? These are some of the things we're supposed to look at. Basically, Madam Chairperson, it was basically a comment.
Honorable Kando.
I think, Chair, through you to the controlling officer. Controlling officer, you gave these 6 contracts to this company, which you said had stationed itself in Eastern. These people you gave, you are saying they were in Eastern, they were in Copper Belt, and you gave them 9 provinces out of 10. And you told the committee earlier on that you did your due diligence. The report here indicates that they only had 3 rigs. Why did you ignore their capability? The indication was very, very clear that they had 3 rigs from the solicitation document that you gave, and you ended up giving them 6 contracts.
PS,
based on what?
Mine is allied on Honorable Rikando's question. How many lots was the contract? And why did you give it to one contract? Even if we are trying to help Zambians, you would have given other Zambians, including the same contractor you gave, then you share it to other Zambians. PS, you can respond.
Chair, this is where we are saying other Zambians, because one of the bigger challenges we have is our Zambian contractors, one, lack equipment. Because just as we are saying, these lots or contracts were independent from each other. And then the rules were not set that once he brings this equipment for this, he could not use them in the other. So from the 3 equipments he had, the 3 rigs, he bid for this one using the same. Again, bid this one using the same. Because if we calculate of all these, we are saying he should have had 15 rigs. And then from there, that's why it is going to how many Zambians can afford to have 15 rigs. Because on top of that, this is what I'm saying, we are not yet matured as Zambians to take this food, because the cost of one rig is about 10 to 12 million kwacha, one rig. Meaning if one was to have 15 rigs, it will read us into those costs. That's why I'm saying part of the challenges that we are facing is the capacity, lack of equipment, and of course, the attitude also of our contractors. I still feel our contractors in this area, as we are looking forward to empower them, at the moment I feel they need to start working together. Maybe if we may need to partner with our colleagues of the foreign countries who are gurus in this area. I feel that way to help us. Sometimes they brought documents which they qualified. All the documents were there, they have everything, but you find that you give them, they fail to perform. It's simple. Sometimes you find that a person is qualified for a certain job, he has a degree, he has experience, you give him, but he fails to perform. That's why I'm saying, going forward, we feel we need to take these steps, whereby through the little experience we have gained, our Zambian brothers need to partner up with these foreign entities. Before I, through Chair, I may invite the head procurement to help me. Thank you.
There's a question from Honorable Daka.
Controlling officer, we agree with you to some extent. That's why we asked you a question much earlier. that did you conduct a due diligence prior to signing a contract with these contractors? Because with what you are submitting to the committee now, it's like you knew already that they didn't have the capacity to execute the contract, and you went ahead to giving them this contract on the basis that they are Zambians, which is not correct. Because we probed you, we requested you, and we emphasized, and we kept on pressing you on issues to do due diligence. Because due diligence determines the physical capacity of whether someone was lying in his tender document or during the tendering process. Because I can come up with paperwork, as you have said, demonstrating that I have the capacity to do some certain assignment, when in fact not. But when you follow up with a due diligence, you compare there like if you are looking at equipment, the documentation for that particular equipment against what you are going to physically find. If he's hiring, let him indicate that he's going to hire that equipment, and you go further to check where he's going to hire that equipment from, and make sure that it will be available by the time when the assignment will be done. That's the procedure. So for you to come and tell us that these people lie, when you give them contracts, they are not what it means in demonstrating capacity at bidding as compared to execution, this committee asked you a question which we even compelled you that present the due diligence report here. But in the document, lucky enough, we can see here, we kept on saying, instead of the required number of rigs, out of 9, there was a variance of 9. He had 9 less. So at that particular point, you could have known that it was a non-starter. So that's why the committee was laboring, was failing to understand why you proceeded to give him a contract when you yourself knew very well that he's not going to succeed, going by what you have submitted before this committee. I submit, Madam Chairperson.
Honorable.
Where this was asked, this company was given about 6 contracts. And it was very clear, just like Honorable Daka said, that they honored 3 drill rigs. I want to know through you, controlling officer, to probably to the head procurement, did other contractors, Zambian contractors, bid? Or it was just one person who did bid and then you had no any other competition? Because if the same were to be split to other companies, probably there could have been some performance of some sort. The person who had the 3 rigs could have been given the correct number, maybe 100. Other contractors, this one 20, this one 30, this one 40, and probably could have seen something better. But what informed you to give one particular company all this? Were there no any other Zambians that... did people respond to this particular advert in your ministry? Chair, I submit.
Yes.
Chair, yes, I take note of the good guidance from the members. And as I said, even in my submission, I clearly stated that we came to realize at the execution stage that this contractor had 3 rigs. I would quickly say we erred on that part. I think going forward, we'll ensure that we do the proper due diligence. I may wish to appreciate that coming in here also is strengthening us into gaining experience. I think in future we'll look at doing more due diligence. We accept the council. Thank you.
Honorable Lungu, followed by Honorable Umai.
Thank you, Chair. On page 7 again, under 7 contracts which were given to DDYPE, I'm also failing to understand. Maybe procurement through PS. Contract number 1, boreholes which were supposed to be drilled, 45, drilled 14. Contract number 2, 59, drilled 0. Contract number 3, 9, drilled 0. Number 4, 10 boreholes, drilled 0. Number 5, 192, drilled 34. Contract number 6, drilled 65, drilled 4. I just want to understand, was anything special to this contractor for the procurement to go ahead despite this poor performance to keep on awarding this contractor or this contract? What was so special about this contractor? I submit, Chair.
Okay. Honorable Lumai.
Yeah, Madam Chair, since the controlling officer says he has learned after interacting with this committee, what I want to find out from the controlling officer and the team, whether they are able to produce a report before this committee at every stage when this contractor was picked. In 2022 alone, this contractor has been given 10.2 million, and the total contract sum being 41, meaning there's still 30 million plus owed to this contractor. Now, as Honorable Lungu has said, I think only 3 lots the contractor has not done anything. So what I want to understand is 23 September 2022 he's given, 23 September 2022 again he's given, 26 October 2022 he's given, 7th November 2022 he's given, 8 September 2022 he's given, 23 September 2022 again he's given the same contractor on all these lots at different locations. So what I wanted to know whether the ministry can help this committee with a report at every lot how this contractor was being picked, because he was coming out best at every lot for him to be awarded these contracts. So whether the ministry can give us a report so that we can understand if this person in every lot, there was no other contractor who bidded for these contracts. It was just one person who was producing 3 rigs.
Head procurement through the PS, you can respond to the questions.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much for the question. You may wish to note that on page 7, where these issues are coming on, you may wish to also to note that these are different tenders which were floated at different times. So meaning you don't really restrict on who is supposed to participate in what tender. As you can see, even the dates like the Honorable alluded to, of course through the committee, you find that like in the number 1, you find that it was 972, which means it was a tender for new boreholes. The other one, on I think, is it number 4? That is water schemes. These are different tenders. Then the other one, the last one, that was a direct bid emanating from the earlier contract which came in 2015-2016. So with that said, Honorable, I would also like to emphasize to this committee that it has become prudent, that it has been difficult for us to really engage our citizen bidders who have been failing to perform as a result of the clause in the Act, that is clause 39, read together 1 and 2, meaning the only contract...
Head procurement, Honorable Mkombi.
Chair, I think the question is very specific. Was he the only one? How many contractors, local contractors, participated? As simple as that. If he was the only one, then we understand the reason why you were giving him. But if there were others, what could have been the problem? I think that's what we are trying to find out here.
And the other issue, PS, why would you evaluate Zambians using one contractor, saying that Zambians have failed to deliver, when you just used one contractor across the country, when we have a lot of contractors around? At least if you tried maybe 5 of them and they all fail, that's when you can have that position, but not one contractor to paint all the contractors as Zambian that they can't deliver. PS.
Maybe before my head procurement come in, as I speak, these are the worst contractors we have. Even others, though they have tried here and there, the trend looks the same. I can bring the whole trend of how many contractors we have. The trend is almost the same, though others are trying, but they are all not meeting the target. They are all not completing on time. There are others who requested for extension, and we have given them that extension. But if you look at the pace, you can all see this struggling is there. And then for others also, we have tried to do better. You try to see that they are trying to engage our brothers from the Indian community to help them. I may request that you request my head procurement to finish his submission, Chair. Thank you.
No, head procurement.
Thank you very much, Chair. As you have already seen in here, it's not that it was the only contractor per se. We also have other contractors who participated in this particular bid. Like if you have seen there, it's written 972. So we had these were allotted. In short, they were in lots. So meaning if they were in lots, we're talking about 20 lots covering the entire country. So according to the breakdown, we had a maximum of a bidder being awarded 3 contracts. That was a maximum. So that was a requirement in terms of what was in the solicitation document. It was not restrictive. It was only up to 3 bid contracts. Hence us having to recommend the award of these particular 3 contracts, which we are seeing here. 3, of course, in the new boreholes, the 972. Then in the water schemes, the 80 also you got. These are different, or read together differently. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Mwira.
With your indulgence, Chair, I wanted to ask on the other issue about the 120 boreholes in Western Province.
Yeah, ask.
Thank you. I'm on page 5, controlling officer, of your submission. With regard to the 120 boreholes that were the contract awarded to Campe, you paid them 25% advance payment, amounting to 2,784,000 kwacha. Having paid them this advance payment of 2.7 million, they had gone on to drill 5 boreholes. After this, there was another payment of 511,995. So I want to find out, why were they paid this 511 despite having received the advance payment of 2.7? I submit, Chair.
PS, you can respond to the question.
Chair, when we give them advance payment is almost like a loan. And then as they keep bringing in the IPC, you keep deducting. So when the IPC comes, you pay them according to the works they've done, and then you deduct so that they continue working. Thank you.
Honorable Daka.
Madam Chairperson, on the same, controlling officer, the same Kempe investments. I know, as for 2015, these are legacy issues. But again, in 2022, on 7th November, you re-engaged them, regardless of the failures that they scored in 2015. Controlling officer, in 2015, they were given 2 lots. In 2022, you only gave them 1 lot. I understand issues to do with the recoveries over advance payment. You don't do 100% recovery because you cripple the contractor. That one we understand. But the rationale, PS, even as I speak now, in my constituency, the contractor that you sent there to execute the borehole contracts there, out of the total number of boreholes, he has only done 1 borehole, a Zambian, in 2 years. The last year, he never did anything. He tried to mobilize this year, he only did 1 borehole and the machine broke down. I agree with you that our brothers, the Zambians, have failed us. We are fully agreeable. Now, the question which is there, PS, would want to know, just basically overall, I mean, what is it that you are doing as a ministry? You have submitted yourself that they have failed us, but what have you done in the interim or short-term measure to ensure that we salvage something? Because our people indeed are suffering. Even as I speak now in my constituency, there is a huge crisis with regards to water supply. People are going, women queue as either 02 to wait to draw water on a water source which has got a very low yield. So, PS, I mean, on a short-term measure, what have you done as a ministry? We know this is a mess, but what have you put in place so that you mitigate against some of the mischievous happenings in your ministry, so that by the end of the day, our people could smile? That I submit, Madam Chairperson.
PS, can respond to the question?
Chair, what we have put in place is going forward. For example, we'll be tendering projects for 2024. Whichever contractor we have given the works 2023, whoever has not done the works of above 80% will not qualify to tender. That's one of the measures which we have put in place. And again, our prayer is that may this acts pertaining to ZPPA, where we're looking forward to opening up, where we can allow our Indian brothers to come in, go through. If that can happen, we still see to it that with the interest of empowering our people, let us encourage them to partner up. Not throw them 100%, but let's have them partner up so that maybe 5, 10, 20 years from now, maybe we'll be able to get the experience and reach the guru status. So what we have done is going forward, what we are tendering in all the projects, whoever we have given the works, whoever has not finished should not be entertained going forward in next year's tenders. Thank you.
Honorable Daka.
Thank you, PS. But what I was trying to arrive at is these contracts that have failed. I mean, they like for 2022 and 2023. Our people still need the water. And for them to wait for the procurement of 2024, it might be too late, PS. We are in a crisis. I'm speaking on behalf of many members here. What short-term measure have you put in place in order to mitigate against the mishappenings with regards to borehole drilling? I submit, Madam Chairperson.
And Honorable Kando.
Chair, thank you so much. Chair, I think there's one question that has not been answered, which I asked. My question to you, controlling officer, was, you gave these contracts, and some of which, okay, you are saying they were allotted, and but this company, you gave it, in one day, you gave it 3 contracts. My question is, what informed you? I think this question has been asked by Honorable Mukumbi, to say what was really informing you to pick on this organization to do this work?
PS, you can respond to the questions.
Thank you so much. Yes, this question keeps coming. This is what I'm saying. This issue is a legacy issue. In our thinking, we thought maybe they failed to perform in the past because the funds were not adequate. Now that we have adequate funds, and then going forward, we have taken note that part of them, these encashment procedures which we are following up, and then going forward, we are saying we will not consider them for next jobs. And then for the short term, they are our Zambian people who are in dire need or where they have failed. As a ministry also, we have got these rigs dotted in all the provinces. We are trying to move in as a ministry using our own rigs and our own manpower to mitigate part of these needs that we have there. A number of constituencies which I can cite where we have moved in as a ministry. I'll give you an example. Kaparara Market, when it was gutted, we had discovered that there was no sanitation. We had to move in as a ministry to go and drill that much needed borehole at the market. There are other schools, Kasisi Secondary School, our children had no water. We moved in. Thank you.
Chair, my question is, what informed you to pick on this? I know you have interest to develop, but on these contracts, what really informed you?
Maybe I'm sorry.
And maybe PSC, just lie down his submissions. What is the status, the current status of the project as 29th November 2023? So can you respond to the two questions? Start with Honorable Likando's question, then give us the status quo.
What informed us before I invite through you the head procurement, this one said they are not the only ones, there were many of them, but these are the ones who have failed. There are many of them. When you look at these, there are 927, so meaning there were a lot of bidders, but these are the two who have brought us in here. So what informed us, I will invite head procurement, and then where we are, I will invite WSS through your chair. Thank you.
Head procurement.
Thank you very much, Chair. Alluding to the fact that there is what is known as the evaluation committee appointed through the controlling officer. We had, I think, three evaluation committees who sat to evaluate the bids that were submitted. Hence, eventually recommendations done to the Ministerial Procurement Committee to award these particular contracts that we are here seated and discussing. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Doug.
Thank you very much, Madam. Can I have the mic, please? Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Through the PS, of course, to the head of procurement. You know, this is a committee of facts. We don't rely on speculation. I think it's in the interest of the committee that would want to have a look at the evaluation report, because it's quite, it's quite questionable of how you proceeded to award the same contractor that area on. You can see the chart that Honorable Lungu was referring to. He cited the first one, he failed, he did something, the second one something, the third one there was zero, but you still continue to award on the subsequent ones. So we would want to see how you evaluated. We would want a whole dossier of the evaluation report on where there was participation by this contractor. Maybe we can appreciate your works with regard to what you did under the contracts that this contractor was awarded. I submit, Madam Chairperson.
Honorable Kando.
Chair, may we know who was the contract manager for this project? Who, after 1 year, that's when he's coming to say, we're in cash, we're in cash. Where was the project manager when work was failing to take off?
PS.
Director, maybe let the
Director
Water Supply and Sanitation.
Director Water Supply.
Thank you, Chair.
Before Director Water Supply, there was a question from Honorable Dak on the evaluation report. We want the minutes of all the stages of this contract. Do you have them?
Through
procurement, yes.
Through you, Chair, I would like to confirm that the evaluation reports, we have them for the 972 new boreholes, which were done in that particular year, and also the water schemes, the 8 water schemes, we do have them, that we are ready to submit through PS to yourselves. I submit, Chair.
Today is Wednesday? Thursday? Thursday. We need the report by Tuesday next week through the office of the clerk. So you can respond to the other questions, head water, Director Water.
Maybe before Director Water comes in, I have reports or letters from my managers of whom part of their input has spoken to us reaching this stage of encashment.
Yeah, so it will be part of the document you will submit to the office of the clerk. Director Water.
Thank you, Chair. I think there was a question regarding the status of the projects. I wish to report to this committee that these were 1-year contracts, and as we stand today, none of these contracts is actually valid, and as a ministry we are in the process of doing the closure through the Ministerial Procurement Committee. I submit.
You know, honorable members, to be honest, we are not getting answers from this. So we proceed to, as a committee, we'll do our own recommendations. So we go to question about award of during contract lack of adequate equipment. That's the one? No, the next one. That's the last one. Lack of adequate equipment. We did this one. Okay. Honorable Likando.
Question. I said, who are the contracts manager, or who is the contracts manager for this? The process to come to where we are takes a bit of time. And what we are asking is, when you gave on the 23rd of September 2022 to 23rd September 2023, during this process, there should have been someone who was monitoring this project. Where is that person who was monitoring these projects?
PS.
Director, what is our presentation?
Thank you, Chair. My office basically acts as a project manager. However, I have staff that are dotted around the country in provincial offices. These are actually, they've got the delegated authority of day-to-day supervision of the projects. And as it is now, I actually rely mostly on the reports that are actually submitted from the officers who are located in the provinces. I submit.
Honorable Mkumbi.
Chair, just as a rider from there, is your office represented in the procurement committee? Why I'm asking is your input is cardinal in the award of these contracts. For instance, what Honorable Ferrari said, in September 2022, there was an award of this contract. Performance 0. Your office could have picked that. As they are awarding this same company in November, could have said, colleagues, look, in the ones we awarded in September, nothing has happened. Why are you giving him another contract? That's why we're saying your input there is very cardinal. You are the project officer. So are you represented? And if you are, what was your input? Thank you, Chair.
PS.
Chair, if you look at the table, the non-performance has reflected this year. These contracts were being awarded in 2022. So this is weeks. The other one is after 3 days. The other one is after a month. These are when we advertise and then we start sitting. Now this, we could not say he has failed in here, there is 0, because it's after getting, then when they started running, that's when now we started now trying to see what he has done and what he has not done. So it's not a situation whereby within 3 days we have noticed that he has failed and then again we award him. Thank you.
Honorable Kando.
Why I asked for the projects manager or contracts manager? He's the one who is supposed to inform you on the progress on the ground. Because you are giving someone a contract, 6 months later or 4 months later, there's nothing that has happened. So do you have a manager in that case? And director, what you are saying, actually those people on the ground are reporting. What you are reporting here are even false. This is all false. Because you say, out of 59 boreholes, you didn't drill anything, but you are putting 4% there. It's all false. So we're asking, where are the projects managers who are supposed to ensure that this person is taken to task after getting 4 million kwacha? The person is supposed to start acting. 6 months down the line, he has done nothing.
And PS, let me find out something from you. On page 7, on the table, then third column, you have 9 boreholes. And when I did my simple calculation, 1 borehole is costing 497,175. What type of boreholes are these? Honorable Daka.
Just to add, Madam Chairperson, the same table, table 2 on page 7, just like Honorable Mfarari has already alluded to, there is progress to date, what to call progress. What was informing the figures that we're getting there? Because on against number 2, there's 0 borehole that has been done, but you are indicating 4%. Again on number 3, there's 5% there when he has done 0. And subsequently again on number 4, there's percentage progress when he hasn't done anything. So we'd want to know, how are you generating this percentage progress What is it? Is it physical progress or financial progress to that regard? Did you give any advances, and to that effect you are that's what was reflecting on the percentage progress? I submit, Madam Chairperson.
PS can respond.
Chair, number 3 and number 4 are not boreholes. These are water schemes. So if you look at a water scheme, this is a situation whereby a borehole is drilled, the tank is installed, the distribution line is laid, and the pipes are put. So when you look at it, these are not boreholes. So these percentages, these are part of the progress which is on that project. I submit.
So I think, PS, like I said earlier on, considering this report, you need to clean the system in your ministry. And these are government resources. People out there, they need water. Government has allocated resources. You've been given the mandate, but your ministry is failing the Zambians. So, like I said, as a committee, we'll make our own recommendation. Otherwise, this submission is not good at all. So from that background, I lift your immunity. You are free to go back to work. Thank you so much. Oh, no, give me.
It's a land where every person is born